What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Reel Down. We took a little short break last week for ICAST. Still trying to recover from that and get back to reality here. Um, but yeah, Jimmy's not going to be with us tonight. I guess some storms rolled through his area and knocked out the power in his county. Yeah. So just going to be me tonight with Mr. Tyler Cole from Iowa. Taking home the win from the Bassmaster Kayak Series in Lacrosse about a week ago, I guess. Um, so we'll go ahead and bring him on and give him a chance to introduce himself. Tyler, how you doing, man?
Not too bad, not too bad.
Yeah, working hard over there.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, it's never ending.
I hear that. Well, tell me a little bit about yourself. How'd you get into kayak fishing, and like how long you been doing that for?
It was about 2016. I bought a kayak just to fish the small rivers here in eastern Iowa. And a buddy of mine messaged me and he's like, "Do you know anything about these online tournaments?" I'm like, "No." I said, and I just kind of dipped into those and got my butt kicked a whole bunch. And I'm like,
Yeah,
"Yeah, we may as well try this live event stuff." And it's been an ongoing thing ever since then. So
yeah, those online ones you will hum you a little bit. Those guys sitting in those
yeah,
ponds pulling out 8, 9 pounders left and right.
yeah. You
No,
wouldn't think Iowa is a big fish factory, but I'll tell you what, it's 100 inches to win every month. So
I wouldn't doubt it. Uh, I wanna say I saw a live event maybe earlier, like a month or so ago, that was out there that took like 99.5 or something like that
yeah,
to win it.
yeah,
Um,
yeah. There's some really good fisheries in this region. So
well, that's good. That's cool. Um,
yeah.
so for this event, did you get a chance to practice or anything, or, how'd you approach that?
Well,
Show
I'd
up?
actually got yeah. Well, I got married the weekend before, so it
Oh,
kind
wow.
of killed my
C
killed my practice.
Yeah, congratulations,
But
carried
thank you. But
carried that,
she's
momentum into
awesome,
the
and
next
she
weekend, I
wanted to.
guess.
Yeah, she said no honeymoon. You need to fish this event, and so we actually went up and we practiced a little bit on Monday, and I checked some smallmouth that are normally they're pretty stable this time of year. You know,
Yeah.
they'll stay right in where they need to be, and but I noticed as the week went on, and I we went out on Monday and I caught 91, 92 inches of smallmouth in a little under an
Wow.
hour. And
That's
so
pretty
I felt,
impressive.
yeah, I felt really good about it. I'm like, well, they're still there. Like, I'll just count on them. I won't have to take any time off work. I'll just buzz up there and that'll be my fish. Whatever happens, happens.
Yeah.
Well, that spot is notorious for blowing out on a north wind. It'll blow the mud
Mm.
right down into it and they disappear. So I'm watching the weather, and yeah, sure enough, the wind turns to the north on Friday, and it blacked the area out. So I'm like,
Oh, that sucks.
so
Well,
I ran.
before we get too far into your practice, I guess, um, can you give me a little bit of a breakdown of how that fishery sets up? Uh, just for our listeners
It's
that haven't
it
been there, or
yeah, it's
myself,
very
actually, I haven't
very
been there.
diverse. I mean, it's
Mhm.
very diverse up there. You can fish main channel. You can fish. There's secondary channels with current that run through. There's backwaters. I mean, each pool is 35,000 acres.
Wow.
So, I mean, when you're dealing with this, like it was actually closer where I fished. It was closer for me to drive home than it was to drive to Lacrosse, which is halfway up the pools.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, grass, tons and tons and tons of grass. Like it's a frog fishing heaven. Tons of rock, tons of wing dams. I mean, and it plays to everybody's style. I mean,
Yeah.
all the time. Yeah, I mean, you can always find something to fish. and
I feel
there's
like,
absolute
they've definitely plays to, like, a typical kayak fisherman's style, I
yeah.
guess, shallow water power fishing.
Yep. Yeah, and there's even spots. I mean, you can run out and you can drop shot in 18 to 20 foot of water. I mean,
Hmm. I
there's
don't know if
something
you're
for everybody.
doing that if I know it can be frogging somewhere.
Yeah, yeah. The frog bite's insane because you never know what you're gonna catch. You know, whether you're gonna be on
Yeah.
largemouth or pike or dogfish or we even had there was a few couple years ago there was a tournament a guy caught a 30-inch walleye on a frog.
Gosh. Have you ever caught any smallmouth on a frog?
I have, yeah. They love it up there. So a lot of
Huh.
times this time of year you'll get the smallies will start to roam and they'll actually end up in the backwater with the largemouth
Wow.
along current breaks. And
Yeah.
yeah, they just they'll engulf it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's a for me to get. I mean, you can do that down here a little bit, but not the same. Uh, not that type of
Yeah.
fishery. Um, so that's
Yeah.
for
And
so all how many of the
there's
schools were
just so
open for
many
this?
fish. Three. Three
3?
pools,
Okay.
7, 8, and 9.
I got you.
Yeah. And
Um,
so it's I think I want to
so
say it's about 3 hours from the top to the bottom.
that's a
So
pretty
like
good
if you
amount of
were to
water.
start on the top of 7. Yeah.
So do you
Yeah.
have
And it
any,
seems,
experience out there being so
yeah,
close to there?
it's my home water basically. I mean, it's where I've always
Nice.
I grew up fishing there, and then when I got into bass fishing, I really went up there just so I could work on different things. And
Yeah.
you know, once you learn how to read the water and figure it out where those fish are, it makes it a pretty easy fishery.
Hmm.
So
So going into it, did you already have in mind where you wanted to start fishing other than that smallmouth spot you checked? But,
no, that was I was going to be my make or break. I'm like I'm going to live or die on smallmouth again. And
yeah,
it's like I tell everybody: if you come to the Mississippi River, never trust the brownfish because they'll burn you every time.
I hear that
And
about, like, not
yeah,
just
I
the
just
Mississippi River, but, all kinds of other fisheries. It's hard to rely
yeah,
on the smallmouth,
yeah. And
unless they're
these
spawning
fish are
like, in your sight fishing for them, I guess, but
yep, yeah. These fish up there are real nomadic. Like they'll be there Monday through Thursday, but come Friday, Saturday, they pack up, and I still haven't figured out where they go.
yeah, what are they doing? They're just vacating
Yeah,
and gonna roam around?
yeah. I It almost has to be what they're doing, but I can't. I haven't been able to put a finger on them yet. So
Yeah. We can just spend a day, live scoping out there and just follow them around and see what they're doing.
yeah, yeah. The live
Nice.
scopes. It's a lot of fun to live scope them up there.
Hmm, I can see that. Um, so you were
Yeah,
saying you got a little bit of a chance to practice, and then you went and checked your smallmouth spot and it wasn't happening. Uh, so
yeah,
what you do after
yeah.
that?
I went up Friday, and I knew with that wind, it's like a 4.5 mile run down to my smallmouth spot. So like if you go down
Okay.
there, you're pretty well committed for the day.
Yeah.
But so I knew with that north wind it was going to blow out. So I'm like, well, I'm going to go check a couple community holes. I mean, there's some normally this time of year from now till about mid-September, it's usually one like all your boat tournaments are usually one on pool 9
Yeah.
in that general area. So, but so I figured I'd go just check out one community hole. It's just a 30-foot hole in the middle of nowhere, and then there's a bunch of flats around it that have a lot of pads and mixed weeds and eelgrass and
Nice.
everything in it. And I ran up in there Friday morning, and my first fish was 18. The next one was 18 and a half, and then the next one was 19 and 3/4.
Wow.
And I literally just checked 3 little spots, and I turned around and I left. I'm like, that was good enough for me for a backup plan.
Yeah. I mean, those are solid fish for fishery. I mean, for northern string
Yeah,
largemouth, those are really good fish.
yeah,
That's like
yeah.
equivalent
Normally,
to
if
like a
you're if you're
21 down here.
yeah, and that's if you're at 88 to 92 inches is your normal averages up there. I mean,
Mhm.
if you can hang 88, 89 2 days straight, you pretty much got her in the bag.
That's awesome. Well, it
Yeah,
sounds like you did that. So,
yeah,
um,
yeah.
so going into day one, how did you approach that?
Well, I showed up to the ramp and I knew there was going to be a couple other guys there because I'd chatted with them early, and the one other guy fishes down that way quite a bit, but the other two
Mhm.
they were both out of towners, and they stumbled on the right ramp, and the
Yeah.
one guy's got, and I run an autopilot from Old
Okay.
Town, so I'm only running about 3.5 4 mile an hour,
Yeah.
and there Lance was there with his bona fide with the torpedo on it, and there's no keeping up with that thing.
No.
And
Was it the
I
1103 or
didn't.
the uh,
Yeah, yeah. This
yeah,
thing does. I think he said he can get 7.1, 7.2 out of it.
jeez,
I mean, it's
hauling.
crazy. He could have called and ordered pizza before I got there, and I mean, we weren't a 15-minute run from the ramp,
I mean, they're
but
talking almost double the speed that you're able to
yeah,
go at,
yeah.
um,
It's it's crazy watching him walk away. I mean, just how
yeah.
fast that thing is.
I
But
guess
I
I
didn't
never really thought
realize.
about, like, how that could give you those type of fisheries where you're not really having to spot lock
Yeah,
as much, you're just having to spot hop, I guess, like, run to spots.
yeah, yep. And that was
So,
the big
ha
thing. So it was basically a secondary channel that came down off the main channel into this deep hole. Well, then
mhm,
there's a real heavy bend in the middle of it. Well, the 2 points really set up well with the way the current was coming into it and how it was
yeah,
kind of working through in the grass. And I wanted to fish the point that he was on because he
mm,
beat me there by about a mile. So
30
I just went
minutes,
to the
yeah,
yeah, yeah. I mean, there was no contest. Like, it's one of those that you just take the beating and you just drive by.
yeah,
It's like, I guess I'll
dang it,
go over here. Yeah,
yeah,
but I went across from him and on the other point, the wind was blowing into it pretty good, and we still had a decent current flow on Saturday, and it was just slow and steady. I mean, you could
mhm,
burn a frog, and they were coming up and getting it. It was just a matter of waiting for those fish to load back up in there, because I think what they do is they go up into those shallow flats to feed, and then they roll back out into the deeper water
mm,
off the break to just kind of kick back and relax.
yeah,
And it was slow and steady all day. I mean, I probably caught, I don't know, 25, 30 fish, but
that's pretty
it
solid for a day
yeah.
of fishing, like, I'll take that any day.
Yeah, and that's actually a slow day up there. I
Huh,
mean, you can have 50 and 60, 70 fish days up there pretty easy.
hmm,
And so I felt pretty good where I was sitting after day one. I mean, basically I throw a Booyah Padcrasher all the
yeah.
time. Like, that's my
What kinda
go-to.
setup are you throwing
And
that on?
I'm throwing it on it's a Team Rain Shadow. It's a Revelation or RX-10 blank. It's a 7.4 heavy. And then
Okay.
I do the spiral wrap guides on it because it
Oh,
just kind of
nice.
wakes the blank up, and then a big carbon fiber handle on it. That way I can really, really horse them
Yeah.
out of there if I need to. And
Huh.
I mean, it's been my go-to rod since we went, oh, since they came out, and that was 2 years ago.
Did you
And
build that rod or, you
I
have a
actually
builder
had,
that builds it?
I have a builder that Al Angling from Hawkeye Custom Rods. He actually just retired this year, so
Yeah.
I'm still gonna try to talk him into building my stuff. But
Yeah. I was gonna say
but
that I
yeah,
used to use all rain shadow blanks, and, I had a rod builder that
yeah,
built rods for me. Then he also retired from rod
Yeah.
building, and I
Yep.
had to figure something else out. But I loved those. I used Eternity tanks, um,
Yep.
and I liked
Yep.
all of that lineup.
Yeah. I have probably 40 of them, 50 of them, probably close to,
You got a pretty good
and
stockpile of
I
them.
yeah, I'm sitting good even if you did quit building. But I mean,
Yeah.
th- for a custom rod, like the biggest thing for me is like you can build it the way you want it,
Mhm.
you know. And so
Yeah.
like the spiral wrap guides for me is huge, because it truly it wakes that blank up,
Mm.
and you're not feeling that line slap all day. You're not getting the torque out of the reel, and
Yeah.
you can really hammer on these fish.
I've never tried spiral wraps before. I mean, I've heard stuff about them, but I've never
Yeah,
put it
I'm
into action before.
so long ago. Well, it was clear back 2018. I went to Hobie World over in Sweden, and
Mhm.
Ty Hibbs was my roommate, and he actually fished with this Deuce rods.
Huh.
It was a garage builder out of Louisiana, and they did the spiral wrap, and that
Yeah.
was the first time I got to play with them, and I've been hooked ever since. Like
Huh.
they are insane.
Do you have any issues with them, like, ever bending the guides or anything, ever bending or anything like that?
No, not really. As long if you put them in a rod sleeve, like
Yeah.
you'll be fine.
Yeah.
So, and I mean, it's just it's a little different, because like
Yeah.
you'll hand the rod to somebody and you're like, hey, check this out, and they grab it and they try to twist it like a two piece,
Yeah.
and it's it's
They're
so
like, "What?
funny.
What's
They're like,
wrong with this thing?"
yeah, why did you do that? So,
Yeah. Uh,
but
quick story, I guess. I was at ICAST this week, and I was looking at these Chinese rods. I won't say the company's name, but I picked one up, and the guy was like giving me his spiel about these rods. And the first one I picked up, the first guide on it was right. Everyone after that was on the bottom side, all the way up.
yep,
Like, I was like, "Is this some kind of weird spiral wrap or something?" And then I set it next to the, like, supposedly same rod, and all the guides on that one were right, and I was like, "Yeah, no. I can't
yeah,
believe you put this on the show floor out here."
right,
But,
yeah,
uh, anyways, yeah, I gotta try that out sometime. I mean, I
yeah,
talked with the Batson, group about, all their products and stuff when I was
yeah.
there.
That's
It made me miss,
Eden was down there.
some of the stuff I used to be get built.
Yeah,
Um,
that's I like they show me more support than anybody I've ever had. I mean that Bill and company out there, they take real good care of me for the years, and I hope it's still a long relationship well into the future because they have
yeah.
some of the best products out there, hands down.
Oh, yeah.
So
And, like, the Alps receipts and stuff that they make, those are some of my favorite.
yeah,
I still
yeah,
miss
they're
those sometimes.
and he's pushing the bar every year to make things lighter and better, and
Mhm.
more power in the rods. And I mean, it's like I said, you can go in and buy a shelf rod, and oh, this one feels okay, or you
Yeah.
can just have it built. you know Truly
Just
reach out to these builders. These guys will do it.
yeah. That's where I s why I started doing it too, because I got to where I was super picky and, uh,
Yeah.
wanted it built, like, exactly how I wanted.
Yep.
And then I had to do, like, color schemes and stuff to match my stuff.
Yeah, that's all mine. I just keep them all black. But
Yeah.
Al, Al, after building for me, he built for me for 5 years, and I mean, he knows exactly how I want it, so
Yeah.
it's always easy that way.
You got a selection that you just pick from, like, "Yeah,
Yeah.
build me that one again."
Yep. Pretty much. Pretty much.
That's awesome.
S-
So, was it pretty much, day 1 all frogs?
Yeah.
Did you ever have to change it up or do anything else or
No, I have a real bad habit that once I get that first frog bite, I know I can get 5 bites. And
that's
so
me.
I
I'm the
never
same
put it
way.
down. Yeah, I'm a grinder, and I've always
Yeah,
looked at it as, okay, the tournament's 8 hours long. I need 1 bite an hour, and I'll end up with
yeah,
3 calls. You know, like I don't
there
I
you
don't
go.
stress. I don't, and just literally fish it hour by hour. Like in the morning
What about that,
you can burn off
last hour if you got, like, couple like, 2 or 3 fish and you're still trying to get that limit? Is that when you start
that each.
stressing?
I tell everybody I don't start stressing until it's like 2:59, 58. And then it's like,
Yeah.
yeah, I should probably do something different, like go
Yeah.
home.
Yeah.
But no, I literally when I fish tournaments, I break them down hour by hour. Like,
Yeah.
all right, if I'm up 4 bites in the first hour, then the rest of the day is easy. Then it's all about mindset.
Yeah.
And just starting the way you fish hour by hour. You go out and you're burning a frog in the morning. This isn't necessarily the way you're going to be fishing a frog by the time 3 o'clock comes.
Yeah.
So if you can literally break it down hour to hour, it'll amaze you how much difference it makes.
Mhm. So, fishing a frog all day, which sounds like
Yeah,
paradise to me.
it
What kind
is.
of stuff are you throwing at? Like, what are you targeting specific types of vegetation or like gaps or holes
Basically,
or edges?
yeah, basically what I found is any of the pads, the lily pads in 2 to 3 feet of water off this edge, there's a bunch of eelgrass that comes up,
Mhm.
and you'll see those pads will kind of grow off the side of the eelgrass. Well, the eelgrass gets so thick that the bass don't go in it; they sit on the edges of it, and that's where those pads were. So anytime there I had any current flowing in there, I could target those direct pads, and there
Wow.
was a fish in every one of them.
Hmm.
And you could run. I mean, this cut's probably, I don't know, quarter to three, well, probably half mile long.
Yeah.
So you could literally just run down through and just target the pads the whole way through, and you'd pick up 2 to 3 fish every turn, and then
Yeah.
I'd just turn around and I'd drive back to the top of it and just let the wind blow me back down through again, and
Back and
just
forth.
over and over and over day one. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. Day two
Did
we
you
had to
ever have
change
to
it up
like
a little bit.
did you ever have to change like your colors or your size of your frog or
No, nope.
different
I
types of
literally
frogs you're eating?
I lock that frog in, and I don't change it. I don't retie. I'll
Hmm.
throw it until the color is completely gone on it.
Yeah. Do you
And
do, modifications or anything to your frog, like add rattles or scent or anything like that?
not so much. I mean, every so often I will, like when it gets, that our hot month is August up here,
Yeah.
and August you got to show
You
them
got,
something a little
the
different.
Hobie coming right back up in August, right? Or is it September?
Yeah,
Awesome.
I think it's end of August,
Let me double check here, I'll look it up real quick. Yeah, August
but
19th and 20th. Wow, so
yeah,
that should be awesome.
yeah, yeah. It'll definitely play into a really killer frog bite. But like
Mhm.
as for basic mods, like I'll boil them,
Yeah,
because just soften them up or leave them on the dash of the truck for about a week,
yeah.
and yeah, they're soft as they can be. But like day two, I put a big mod on it that I've been sharing. I probably shouldn't have shared it, but I did. But we'll
And we
get we'll
appreciate
get
it,
there
any
shortly.
of the juice
Yeah,
that you're willing to give out.
yeah. I mean, heavy line. Keep your heavy line. And so for me, I've always had the theory, like I'm not a bomb cast frogger. Like
Mhm.
I don't make that 70, 80 yard cast and then hope I can hook it up at the end. It's
Yeah,
like it's like an old boy told me one time. He says when you're working on a when you're working on a workbench, he said, do you work close to you or do you work clear out here?
Mhm.
And
Yeah,
it's the same way with frogging. So I always keep, 30, 40, 30, 40 foot casts. I mean,
gotcha.
nothing crazy. In a kayak, we're very stealthy compared to a boat.
Yeah.
You know, but we also don't
I
have
don't
the
know what it is, but
leverage.
I still like, those long like, making those long casts and bombing
Yeah.
one out.
Oh
But I
yeah.
also use a a little different setup for that. Like, I use a 7 extra head,
Yep.
uh, rod that I can get lean into a little more and
Yeah.
get better leverage on that super long cast.
Yep.
Uh, I wouldn't do that with my, like, 7 heavy 'cause,
Yeah.
there's no way
Yeah.
and sometimes I'm even barely, like, hooking 'em on those long casts. Like, "Man, I shouldn't have landed that fish."
Yeah, and that's when you're frog fishing for 5 bites, well, literally you're looking for the 5 right bites. You basically just take your confidence setup,
Yeah,
whatever
yeah,
you're confident with. Because I have a 7.6 extra heavy that is it's a broomstick. I mean,
yeah,
you could kill an alligator with it, but I
yeah,
mean, it's the same deal. Like if I'm gonna fish, like if I'm off on a far weed line where I have to cast clear up to the hole along the shore, then that's the rod.
yeah,
And I mean, I've went all the way down to a 6.8 medium before for skipping under docks, stuff like that. And it just gives you that little better control to
mhm,
get it up where you need it. So I
yeah,
mean, there's no real right setup for frog fishing. It's just whatever you're comfortable with.
yeah. I think it just depends on the situation and what you're
Yeah.
fishing around and
Yep.
how everything
Yep.
sets up.
Yeah,
But
because
it sounds like what you had, your setup was just right for that.
yeah, yeah, it worked out well. I broke I'm horrible at, like, I get to that 130 to 230, where you're just tired, you're over the
Yeah,
day, you haven't had a bite in a half hour, and you're just going through the motions, and that's
yeah,
I will slackline fish like it's my job,
yeah.
and I I slacklined one about quarter after one that I broke it off,
Oh,
and
no.
yeah, I'm like, all I could think about the whole drive home, because I had an hour and 20-minute drive home. I'm like, that fish is gonna cost me this tournament. Like that's
Yeah,
it right there. I just left the whole
that was the
thing sit
one.
right there. Yeah, and
Dang.
it's just a matter of fishing clean. I mean, when
So
your
how were you
days
feeling after day 1? I mean, you finished, 4th place with
fourth,
88 and a
yeah,
quarter inches, only an inch behind 1st place. 1st place had
yeah.
89 and a quarter.
Yeah, and I could
It's
watch him catch
pretty
his
tight.
89. Yeah,
Oh, yeah?
yeah, because me and Lance were only, oh, 150 yards apart. But
Wow.
then Zach's a real good friend of mine too, and I
Mhm.
know I know just about where he was at. But I mean, it like going into day two, I felt good, but I wasn't sure how many fish were left in there because there was three of us in that area, and
How
then
badly
another
did you think about,
guy.
like, adding some kinda thruster or something to your boat?
I literally went no fish finder. I mean, super light on gear.
Light as possible? Yeah.
Yeah, because and I know, like, I knew day two, if I could catch two or three good ones off that point, there was another little area of pads that, like, most people would shy away from, but I'm like,
Mhm.
you know, that's where the big fish live. So I mean, I come
So did
out.
you have confidence in going back to that spot knowing that there was quite a bit of pressure in that area still?
I thought I could grind out five, and I mean, with the way that sets up with being such a deep hole and then moving up into the
Just kinda
flats, like, I
keep
knew there was going
reloading.
to be, yeah, there's going to be fresh fish there. There might not be as many,
Yeah.
And but it was a grind for 5 was what it was. It's just
Yeah.
you got to go in with that mindset that you're just gonna you're gonna beat them up till you get your 5. But the second I
Makes
stepped
sense.
on the ramp Sunday morning, that's when I started to really question my choices, because I noticed they dropped the water and
Oh.
that it shut the current off.
Oh, no.
Yeah, and so like
Yeah.
they
That's
do.
that's a
It's
big
horrible.
deal, on some of those fisheries,
Yeah,
like current driven for sure.
yeah. That was honestly, it's probably the only thing that saved me. I mean,
Hmm.
realistically, that I felt when I was running out that I actually had a little bit of an upper hand. Because that place is such a level fishery. There's no honey holes. There's no
Yeah.
secret spots. There's no sneaky areas. There's no nothing. Like, you literally just go and you find the bigger fish.
Yeah.
But I fished it so much that I knew what those fish do when the water, that water starts to fall. They slow
Yeah.
way down. They start to pull out to the edges, or they'll run to deeper weeds instead of staying in
Mhm.
that shallow stuff. And that other section of pads that I knew was there was sitting in about 4 to 5 feet of water.
Gotcha.
And I'm like,
So
all right, if I can pick
that
if I can pick a couple off on this point, I'll be good.
yeah. So knowing that the current shut down and the water started to drop a little, you decided to go fish for those deeper pads? Like, was
Yeah,
that
I
your first
started
spot or
no, I actually started on my point where I was at yesterday on day one.
yeah.
And my first, like, probably my fifth cast, I caught an 18. And I'm like,
Okay.
all right, they're still
Yeah.
here. Like, cool.
Nice. Yeah.
And so I kept working through there. I wasn't getting as many bites, but I could pick up one fish every time I worked down through it. And so
Okay.
I'm like, all right, just keep doing this. And it was always in a different area. So I'm like, all right. And it got, I don't know, it was probably 9 o'clock when I had my limit.
Okay.
And a friend of
That's
mine,
that's
friend of
pretty
mine
good.
from back here. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it was a small limit. I had like a 12 on there and a 13 on there. And I'm like, this isn't going to hold for nothing.
Yeah.
But
As close as
good.
that was,
Yeah.
and oh my gosh, I didn't even register this. There's almost 1,600 fish caught in this event.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, so you don't wanna have the 12s or 13s in your bag at the end of the day.
No. No, and like I said, if you lose a fish in this tournament, like a quality fish, like it'll cost you
Same.
15 spots,
Wow.
And so I kept working through there, and then a buddy of mine, a childhood friend, like, we've been friends, we fished together my whole life. Like,
Mhm.
he's my boat buddy, I guess I call him. But he actually texts me and he's like, "Dude, keep it going. Like, you got this. Keep going."
Yeah.
And I'm like, "What I wouldn't give for a 17-inch fish right now."
Yeah.
And I pitched back up onto that corner, and bang, caught an 18 and a half. And
Wow. You
that was,
manifested it.
yeah. And I was, I'm in my mind, I'm going, all right, I still got 5.5 hours to catch one more quality fish.
Yeah.
If I catch two, even better. And so I'm like, screw it, I'm going to the pads.
Mhm.
So these pads are super dense. I mean, there's small holes in between the pads,
Yeah.
where, or underneath the
Those are
leaves.
tough to fish.
Yeah, they are. It definitely puts a different feel to it, because, like, you can get wrapped up so quick, and you can
Mhm.
you can fish so terrible in them that
Yeah.
it can make or break you.
And,
And
like,
so,
if
like,
you're
there was a bunch
there
of,
where you boil your frogs, you almost don't wanna have those softer frogs and that stuff because 'cause it'll just, like,
yeah.
hang on every single one of them.
Yes, and that's so what I do is I take my, well, we'll get there. But
Okay.
so I had a lot of emerged pads, the ones that, they stick a foot and a half off the water.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I could actually take and flip underneath them.
Okay.
And so I changed my tactic completely, and it's something that I've been doing it for a few years in the heavy stuff, and it really
Mm,
seems to work, and it draws the big bites. But what I'll do is I'll take a sinker and I'll stuff it in the bottom, or I
yeah,
take a nail weight and I stick it right in where the line
the
tie
little
is.
okay,
Yep, just stuff it in there. It doesn't matter if it's sticking out, just as long as it's in there, just enough to give it some weight to kind of nose the front of that frog just a little bit. And
yeah,
then what I'll do is I'll flip to those little holes and I'll bring that thing so it gets in the opening, and then I'll just sit there and I'll shake it on the edge of the pad. I'll just hook it on the
yeah,
front of the pad and just sit there and shake, just like a shaky head,
yeah,
on
huh,
those just on those temperamental fish. And when they finally get mad enough, like it's a crazy, crazy bite.
huh.
I mean,
How long do you
they'll
give it on the edge of that pad before you give up on that spot, I guess?
if like that the 19 and a quarter I caught, I bet I shook it. Oh, I'm gonna say 30 to 45 seconds.
Wow.
And I watched her. I literally watched her. It was a little bit bigger hole that I flipped
Mhm.
into, and I watched her rise up behind it. And I was sitting there and I'm like, all right, all right, you're a good fish. Just eat it. Just eat it,
She just sitting there looking at it?
Yeah, she was. And then I stopped it for a second and I started wiggling it. She shot right up to the back of it and she just sat right there and she never moved. And I just sat there and I shook and shook and shook and shook. And so all of a sudden she just opened her mouth and just, and that was it.
Sucked it in.
Like, yeah, like
Wow.
if I'd have been casting, I'd have never heard that bite.
Yeah.
If I wouldn't have seen it in front of me. And yeah, I was able to get her hooked and get her up out of it.
Yeah, what was that like fighting her out of those dense pads like that?
Yeah, that's where the true muscle of those rods works. Like
Yeah.
you can just rip them and go. And I mean, I'm yelling at her. I'm like, get in the net, get in the net, and
Yeah.
I'm starting to get amped up and pretty excited because I knew it was a bigger fish, and I knew it was going to be a big help.
Mhm.
And yeah, it did wonders at 19 and a quarter. And then
So, what did that call out for you?
I think it was a 13 and a half.
Wow, that's a big call.
Yeah.
It was that pretty late in the day, or was that,
No, that was that was about 11 o'clock.
wow.
And then it was once I got settled back down, I sat down, finished my coffee, called my wife, talked to her
Haven't
for a little bit.
finished your coffee yet,
She
huh? You got
I I carry coffee with me year round, and but she got me settled back down. She's like, "Get to work." She's like, "You're leading."
yeah.
She's like, "Just she's like, still need one more." I'm like, "All right." So it was literally three flips later, and I caught a 17 and a quarter, a 17 and a half. Literally
Nice.
like four pads over from that one. And
Yeah.
then I think I
Same
only
kind
had
of technique,
three
like,
bites. Yeah,
dipped into a hole and
yeah,
nice.
yeah. I'd stand up and I'd start on the left side and I'd look for any hole
Mhm.
and I'd work that hole for a little bit and then work to the next one. Then to the next one. I just
Yeah.
360 all the way around my boat. And then if I had a blow up over here or something popped at it, I'd work that area a little longer. Otherwise I'd push myself forward 20 feet and just keep
Yeah.
doing the same thing and just
Mm,
just pick it apart. And I
that's
mean
awesome.
it's tedious, but I mean
Yeah.
it definitely it'll get you the right bites.
Yeah, it sounds like it. I mean,
Yeah,
those are critical bites in that event where it's so tight, like, every
yeah.
quarter inch mattered.
And and it's the same thing. Like when you're in pads that thick, like I could be the guy sitting at home watching somebody else on this podcast because it's that easy to lose them and that kind of stuff.
Mhm. Yeah.
And one fish what makes all the difference up there. So
Yeah, that no doubt. I mean, so day 2 finished with 90 and a quarter inches, which is
Yeah.
1 inch better than Russ. Shout out to Russ. He's one of the Music City team members. He's been on our show a few times. Um, but yeah, he finished with 89 quarters, so 1 17-inch fish, he was right there. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean that 19 and a quarter flops and my day's over, because
Yeah.
it's so hard up there to replace that fish, like you're not going to catch multiple 19s. Like it's just not the way the river works.
Yeah, so it looked like mostly everybody in the top 10 had at least 119,
Yeah. Yep.
or something close to that in their bag. Uh,
Yeah.
it sounds like that's what really got them up there.
Yeah. Yep. That 18, 19-inch fish. Yeah. Those are the ones you want to key in on when you're up there. You're
Mhm.
like, if you come from out of town, it's cool because you're like, especially the guys from down south, because these fish up here are beefy, they're girthy, like
Yeah.
I've had multiple guys say, these 15-inch fish up here are like our 18s
Yeah.
back home, so
Yeah,
guys will roll into
they're
town and they'll be on just
they're stout
be
northern
on just a
strain.
yeah. Yep. And they're this time of year up there, they're feeding so much that they're just, I mean, they're healthy,
Mhm.
and but
What
these
is
guys will
like,
roll in and
seasonally, what is it considered up there right now? Like, early summer
um
or
yeah, I'd say it's yeah, first part of summer. I mean,
yeah,
we're not into the dead heat yet, but
yeah,
I mean, most of our algae blooms are through, and
okay,
so like it's a real summer pattern right now. But then our fall pattern starts October,
hmm,
so
yeah,
it's not, we don't we spend I don't know, we spend 4 months under ice up here, so
yeah. Well, I mean, those fish are ready to eat, when it's warm. They
yeah,
only got so many months to get that done.
yeah, yep, yeah, that's for sure, and there's plenty for them to eat. So
Yeah. Uh, so you finished day 2 in first place, uh, first place on the day and first place overall, with
yeah,
178 and a half inches. That's about an inch and a half over Russ with 177. They had Lance fishing close to, I guess, with
yeah,
175, um, and 3/4.
yep,
So shout out to those guys for those finishes. But Tyler, you're able to
yeah,
get it done, man.
definitely. Shout,
Uh,
yeah, it all, like they say, as long as you can stay there and be there and give yourself the opportunity, that's, when it's going to come
mhm,
together. I mean, this
yeah,
is like you just feel it, and like this one I had no feeling, like I had no idea that I had enough fish to win. I told everybody, I'm like, I got enough fish to cash a check, but I mean, it was just a matter of the right bites came through and we put it together. So
well, you made it happen, man. And in a small field, there's a lot of good anglers, in this event. Like, we had, Greg DePalma on our
yep.
show while we were at ICAST. We talked about the event a little bit. He made me super jealous about, what was going down up there.
Yeah.
But I mean, tons of experienced anglers, lots of good fish caught. Uh,
Yeah.
I think I was looking at it earlier, like all the way down to, let's see, 57th place was 150 inches.
Yeah.
Um, I'd use that as kind of my baseline, 75 inches a day. But
That's
jeez, like everybody had that. Yeah.
I was I, I was joking with him before we left. I'm like, yep. I said I'm gonna go out there. I said first morning. I said I'm gonna put up a solid 71 by 7 o'clock. I said then I'm gonna call up all day to 75.
Yeah. Well, you made it you found those, little bit better quality fish, and that I mean, it
Yeah.
made the world of difference. See, there
Yep.
was we said it earlier, but there was 1,629 fish caught.
Yeah.
That's more than enough for everybody to have a 10 fish limit. Uh,
Yeah. Yeah.
how far down could
And
you go
that's
before you
just what
find somebody?
was.
I think
I think
down
there
to,
was
like,
only.
90th place or something like that, had
Yeah.
5 fish or on both days.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. It's a healthy fishery. I mean, there's enough fish for everybody.
Yeah, it sounds like it. So how did it feel to get that win? Like, what was that like at the awards and
That was
standing up there
that
with
was
all
my
those
second
guys?
one.
Yeah,
That was my second one. So it's, it was still kind of surreal. Like I didn't, I watched Russ stand up when they announced second, when they started reading off the inches, and
yeah,
it hit me.
yeah.
And like
How nervous were you
my
knowing that
wife
he
and
was close to you? Like,
I, it,
that guy can
I
close out some
actually, I
events.
talked, yeah, I talked to Jeremiah Burrish on the way up to Lacrosse, and he runs Explore Lacrosse up there. And, he's
Okay.
been a real good friend of mine since the first tournament up there. And he's like, how'd you end up? I'm like, I didn't call. He's like, well, you're an inch and a half ahead. And I'm like, dude, it's Russ. Like, Russ can catch a
Yeah,
5 pounder out of a 5 gallon bucket. You know,
yeah.
like if there's anybody that's going to stick a 20 and take this away, it's going to be him. And
Mhm.
Jeremiah's like, dude, an inch and a half is like 10 inches on a lake. He's like, just calm down. And I'm like,
Yeah.
if anybody else, like, all
Yeah.
right, cool, whatever. Yeah. But not
Yeah, I
him.
mean, you're
Like
not wrong.
I've,
He had that, 16 in his bag on day 2 and
yeah,
1 20-inch fish, and that was
yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah. And
Or
I mean,
19
even
even.
a 19 would have done it. And I
Yeah,
mean, that's, and I have a ton of respect for Russ. I mean, he's done some amazing things in his career, and he's still got way more to come yet,
oh, for
and
sure.
he's him. But I mean, the guy, he's a hammer everywhere he goes. There's not just it's not just, oh, he does good on this style or this style. No, he is so well rounded.
Mhm.
And it's the same way with Lance. Like Lance is so well rounded. And then here I am. I'm like, well, I got a frog in my pocket, but
I glued that dang frog in my head. Yeah.
right, right. So,
Yeah,
but
that's awesome, man.
yeah, it
So you got
was,
any, sponsors or anything you wanna thank for this, uh, or shout out to
yeah,
anybody? You said you just got married,
yeah,
so
yeah. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I gotta say thanks to my wife. Like she
yeah,
pushes me harder than I push myself, and it's a huge thanks to her and all the kids. Like they all showed up at awards, and that was a cool deal.
yeah, that's
And
awesome.
they they understand dad being gone all the time, and
Yeah,
even my work lets me take all the time I need. I can't thank them enough. My
yeah, that's
like
really cool.
I Yeah, I mean, it takes a village. I mean, to really do this and travel and and hit all the events. But I mean,
Yeah,
Bill and Bill Batson and at Batson Enterprises, that whole team, they take care of me. Like I said, Al for building my rods, Eric Johnston from Mossy Oak Fishing, like he
mhm,
takes care of me every year. Bassett Baits over in Rockford, Illinois, with Tim Hamilton over there. Like
yeah,
he's one of the best. He builds all my jigs, takes care of all my tackle. Everhard Outdoors down in Missouri, they keep me loaded up with all the tackle I need. And
yeah,
it's like it's having support systems like that make this stuff a lot easier. So
yeah, for sure. Um, that's pretty awesome to have that, built around you and, have
yeah,
everybody on your side like that.
yeah, yeah. I have zero complaints at
Yeah.
It's a good world.
Well, now, you can take some of those winnings and go on a honeymoon or something. Give it back to
Right.
him a
I
little bit.
told her I'd take her out for supper. Omni is going to end up with half of it, so.
Yeah. Gonna have 2,000 frogs in
But
your box.
yeah, Bass Pro does 3 for 10, but I'm hoping Booyah's listening, and they're just this is the second one.
Yeah. Shout
So
out Booyah,
that's
your boy
right.
here
Yeah,
is
tag
asking some
tag
checks
them,
on the
tag
frog.
them in the video.
Alright. I'll throw a link on there for him
There you go.
for the
There you go.
Padcrasher. Well, alright, man. I appreciate you coming on with us. It's
Yeah.
been awesome talking with you about this event. I'm super jealous I
Yeah.
couldn't get up there for that. I mean, I had a blast going to ICAST, but
Yeah.
this is one I didn't wanna miss, and I was sad that I had.
Yeah. And like I said, anytime you get up this way, give me a holler. Like I'll take you out. I'll show you some spots.
Man, I'd be down for it.
Heck
I know
yeah.
I wanna try that trick, flipping some pads with a frog like that. I've never
Yeah.
really thought to do it
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah. And like I said, with the water coming down, it slows them down. And so that's,
Mhm.
you could burn a frog all day and they're not
Yeah,
going to touch it. But if you can,
I usually get
it's like,
to where I start, like, I'll start walking them, walk it really slow and just
yep,
give them like a kind of a
yep,
gradual gliding motion like that.
yeah. And
But
see, I'll literally, I'll walk them twice and then I'll count to 10,
hmm,
walk it twice, count to 15, because those bigger fish really they like that easy meal, I guess is
yeah,
what they call it. But
sit there and look
it's
at it
like,
for a second.
yeah, so once they know in their pea-sized brain that they can literally go up and get it without expending
Yeah,
the energy and miss, they commit to it and it's a whole different bite.
yeah. Oh, man.
So
Yeah, that sounds like a blast.
yeah,
Well, I have to get up there sometime. I wish I could make it for
definitely.
this Hobie, but, I'll be having a kid in the next couple weeks, so I don't know if that's in the
Wow.
cards for me.
Yeah, bring the family. There's plenty to do.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I've heard is there's some cool stuff to do in La Crosse,
Oh
not just
yeah,
the fishing there, it's a cool town.
yeah. It's an amazing town.
Um,
So
well, thank you for coming on with us. I
not a
appreciate
problem.
you taking the time out of your busy day to come hang out with us for a second.
Hey,
Um,
if we're talking fishing, I'm there. So
yeah. Yeah, that's the part that makes this easy is just sitting and talking fishing the whole time.
yeah, exactly.
Um, well, I've got some Tourney X stuff to run through. You're welcome to stick around if you want to. It's probably gonna be a long one.
Yeah,
Yeah, it'll be a
I,
minute. But,
yeah. I better fold her up and head out of here. So
yeah, like it's getting dark on you over there.
yeah. So all right, I appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for coming
All
on.
right. Yep.
We'll see it. Alright. Great talk with Tyler there. Super jealous that I didn't get to experience some of that frog fishing, but it's on my bucket list. It's definitely if they go back next year, that's gonna be on my top priority. Um, but with that, we got some results to run through from last week. So yeah, the 12th through the 17th. Um, we'll start it off here with the Foothills Kayak Anglers and Upstate Kayak Anglers from on July 15th. MIL Mill and Wiley event, Hickory, North Carolina. 70 anglers, pretty good show out, 3 fish limit. First place, Michael Barnes with 57.5 inches. Second, Michael Duran with 53 and 3/4 inches. And third, Nick Huddleston with 53.5. So pretty solid limits there. Um, then we had Ontario Kayak Bass Trail 2023, Lake Simcoe, Orilla, Ontario. I don't know if that's supposed to say Ontario, but, Canada. 112 anglers, 5 fish to limit. Antoine D. Gagnon, 95 and 1/2 inches. 2nd place, Darren McGuire, 90 and 3/4 inches. 3rd place, Michael Blumhagen with 82 inches. Then we had the New York Kayak Bass Fishing 2023 Silver Lake, Warsaw, New York. 52 anglers, 5 fish limit. 1st place, Nathan Yakuzo, 93 and 3/4 inches. 2nd place, Joshua Brewer with 89 inches. And 3rd place, Bailey Eichrett with 87 and 3/4 inches. He was at ICAST. How did he fish that? Uh, that must have been that earlier half or made it happen. Still made it to the show. Then let's see. After that, we got Kalpa, the Shenango Region Classic 2-day event in Hermitage, Pennsylvania. Day 1, Shenango River. Day 2, Shenango Reservoir. Um, 29 anglers, 5 fish limit each day. 1st place was Nate Hall with 167.5, about 84 and 3/4 inches 1st day and 82 and 3/4 2nd day. 2nd place, we had Joseph Tarr with 80.5 inches and 81 inches 2nd day, and for a total of 161.5 inches. Then we had Rick McIntyre with 136. Wow, that was a little bit of a drop off there. Uh, about a 30-inch difference there to 1st place. Then after that, we had, Tennessee Bass Nation, Holston French Broad. That was one I was hoping I could fish too, but I was still down in Florida chasing some inshore fish, but, looked like that was a pretty good one. We had 30 anglers for that 5 fish limit. 1st place was Josh Sharp with 93 inches. 2nd place was Jordan Marshall with 92 and a quarter inches, and 3rd place was Eric Thomason with 87 inches. So mostly all local guys taking the win on that stuff. Some hammer too. Then we had the 2023 Fishing for Mountain Fishing in Tornado, West Virginia. It's a charity tournament benefiting Mountain Vision Inc., organized organization that helps families in need. They provide assistance with housing, utilities, and food, so definitely check. Um, Eligible waters for this event was the Kanawha River, Big Cold River, Little Cold River, portions of the Elk River, and portions of the Gauley River. So you had 70 anglers. It's a solid turnout. 5 fish limit. 1st place was Mark Edwards with 89 and a quarter inches. 2nd place, Mark Huffman with 87 inches. 3rd place was Aaron Hayes with 81 and a quarter inches. Then we had the Coleman Kayak Anglers Battle of the Forks, Mulberry Fork and Locust Fork of the Black Warrior River. I've heard a lot of good stuff about the Black Warrior. So we had 31 anglers, 4 fish limit, and this is why, 4 fish limit, Jacob Mott with 84 and a quarter inches. God, it's a 21-inch fish average, something like that. He caught a 23-inch large fish. I don't know. It didn't say exactly which one, but that's pretty solid. Then you had, in 2nd, Jason Moore with 75 inches, so still a solid day. Actually, it's a tie for 2nd. Luther Turner, 75 inches. And then pass for that event was a 23 and a quarter inch fish, so some some solid fish caught on there. That's why we've heard some good stuff about the Black Warrior. Uh, then we had the Peach State Kayak Anglers 2023 Upper Hooch, Chastity River, in Dawsonville, Georgia. 27 anglers, 5 fish limit. Benjamin Bank, first place with 90 and 3/4 inches. Second was Alger, 89 inches. Third place was Joseph Hickman with 83 and a quarter inches. Next up, we have 2023 Kayak Bass Lake Super Series event on Lake Wisconsin and Wisconsin River in Tech, Wisconsin. 35 anglers, 5 fish limit. First place was Jordan Hopner with 94 and a half or 91 and a half inches. Second place with Nicholas Burns with 89 inches. Third place with Matt Sadler with 86 and a half. Some good stuff there. Next, we got the Heartland Kayak Anglers, Preston, Iowa Roadrunner in Creston, Iowa. Eligible waters for this: Green Valley, 12-mile, 3-mile summit, or Afton City Reservoir, 42 anglers, 5 fish limit. First place was Marty Hughes. See, here's what we were talking about earlier, about Iowa producing some good limits. Uh, First place is Marty Hughes with 97 and a quarter inches. Second place was Lucas Engen with 94 and 3/4 inches, and third place was Chris Longshore with 94 and a quarter inches. Uh, so Iowa pumping them out. Cornbread, corn-fed up there. Then we got, 2023 Indiana Kayak Anglers event, uh, Duggar East in Duggar, Indiana. Eligible lakes was Duck, Total, Long, Bass, South Bass, Pump, and Goose Lakes. Who named those lakes? Uh, 40 anglers, 5 fish limit. First place was Ryan Platt with 87 and a quarter inches. Second place was Larry Reyes with 83 and 3/4 inches. Third place was Joshua Robbins with 83 and a half. After that, we got the 2023 Moyak River Series Top 3 and, statewide in Missouri. It's a western region. Anglers may fish from any public stream or river in the region. Okay. So, Missouri, Kansas border, and Highway 65 were the boundaries for that. So that's the western region of Missouri. We got 34 anglers, 5 fish limit. First place was Tyler Coakley, with 87 and inches. Second place was Robert Swearingen, if I butchered that, 81 and a half inches. Third place was Brandon Prince with 80 and a half inches. Oh, man, we still got a few to go through. After that, we got the 2023 Natural State Kayak Anglers, NWA Roadrunner in Fayetteville, Arkansas, 35-mile radius from the Cracker Barrel in, Springdale. Any public launch, um, Prairie Grove, th these are considered off limits. Prairie Grove, City Lake, Swepco, and Bella Vista Pay Lake. 55 anglers, 10 fish limit. First place was Dwayne Beatty with 170 and 3/4 inches. Second place was Cole Sykes with 170 and a half inches. Man, just a quarter inch shy. Then there's a drop off after that. Third place was 155 inches. Uh, then we got the Miniac Elite Trails Top 3 and Cornice Spicer Roadrunner, um, Paynesville, Minnesota. For this, we got lakes, Cornice, Rice, Long, and Nest. 38 anglers, 5 fish limit. First place was Elvis Lee with 92 1/4 inches. That's pretty solid. Uh, Minnesota's fishing good, looks like. Chimin Bang with 91 3/4 inches, and then 3rd place with Jake Kaiser with 90 1/2 inches. Uh, After that, we got Natural State Kayak Anglers of Central Arkansas River Tournament in Maumelle, Arkansas, Maumelle Pond of the Arkansas River between Toad Suck Dam and the Big Dam Bridge. What a what a series of names there. Uh, that's in Little Rock. So 34 anglers, 5 fish limit. Um, Cole Harkin taking home the win there with 86 1/4 inches. 2nd place was Johnny Maddox, 84 inches. 3rd place was Dan Byrie with 80 3/4 inches. After that, we got 2023 Bassmasters Sparrow Lake in Gravenhurst, Ontario, Canada. 45 anglers, 5 fish limit. 1st place, Michael Blumhagen. I feel like we said his name earlier here. Uh, where was it? Yeah, on the Ontario Trail, he got 3rd, at 112 angler. So he won this other event. So nice job there. Uh, with 88 3/4 inches. 2nd place there was Chris Tatusco with 85 1/4 inches, and 3rd place was Brandon Porter with 81 inches. After that, we got the Cincinnati Kayak 24-hour, 150-mile radius radius. Uh, July 15th at 3 p.m. through July 16th at 3 p.m. 150-mile radius, any public water, um, 51 inch 5 fish. We had 1st place with Chris Sizemore with 97 1/2 inches, smashed him, uh, won by 6 1/2 inches. 2nd place was Bert Guthouse with 91 inches, and 3rd place with Ed, uh, Sheeman, sorry about that, 90 3/4 inches. After that, we got California Slay Nation Kayak Series, Salt Spring Valley Reservoir, open event, Farmington, California, 31 anglers, 5 fish limit. Jared Herndon, 82 1/2 inches, taking home the win there. 2nd place was Nick Albright, 80 3/4 inches. Then another one with a big drop off. 3rd place was Jesus Reyes with 69 1/4 inches. Um, yeah, that's a struggle up there. Here's another one. Uh, Central Valley Kayak Fishing 2023 Lake Success West Coast Championship Qualifier in Porterville, California. 45 anglers, 5 fish limit. 1st place with John Lopez with 72 1/2 inches. So right off the bat, that's a grinder. 2nd place was Robert Yamamoto with 68 inches. I wonder if he's related to that Yamamoto. Uh, then this is the biggest drop off we got tonight. 3rd place, Steven Johnson with 47 1/2 inches. So not a 5 fish limit. Only 27 fish caught out of 45 anglers. That's a grinder. Um, After that, we got Central Carolina Kayak Fishing Event, Riley Rumble, 5 lakes, Lake Riley, Lake Johnson, Lake Wheeler, Lake Crabtree, and Beaver Dam. 45 anglers, 5 fish limit. Wow. 1st place was Will Lambert 103 quarter inches, freaking smack. And another solid day, 2nd place with Jeremy Way, 96 inches. In 3rd place, Joshua Powell with 87.5 inches. Uh, so those top 2 guys, we've had a lot of that tonight, a lot of drop-offs. This one was super close, though. So we had the Colorado Kayak Fishing Club Horsetooth Bass Series, in Fort Collins, Colorado. We had 2 anglers, 5 fish limit. 1st place, Sang John, with 81.5 inches. 2nd place, James Strawbridge, 80 and a quarter inches. And 3rd place, Nick Weather Rail Weatherill with 80 inches. So that was a little closer, all our other ones tonight. Uh, After that, we had the 2023 Minnesota Kayak Fishing Association Old Town Kayak Bass Tournament in Rush City, Minnesota. Uh, these are on Easton Rush Lakes. 75 5 fish limit. 1st place with Jim Mawa with 90 and 3/4 inches. 2nd place was Roger Herr with 90 and a quarter inches. 3rd place was Chucky Bang with 85 and 3/4 inches. And then for our last one here, the USA Bassin Jackson Kayak Trail Sam Rayburn in Jasper, Texas. Man, this is a looks tough for Sam Rayburn. 26 anglers, 5 fish limit. 1st place was Joseph Cheatwood with 87.5 inches. 2nd place was Jeff Isham with 79 and a quarter inches. 3rd place is Gary Sharp with 78.5 inches. It's tough going for Texas lakes. But that'll do it for our rundown here. What did wanna mention the No Limit, uh, native event. I cannot figure out how to see what the uh, total inches was for this, um, but that looks like it was fun. Tons of fish caught there. We had 110 anglers in that with 893 fish caught. Uh, Gilbert Wright with the win there. 2nd place was Adam Drevick, and 3rd place was Dennis Geitman, and this was like an MLF style event. Um, let me see if I can get this to pull up somewhere. Anyways, it had to be over 100 something inches, maybe 200 because there's tons of it's going up to 10 fish, and it's still got a ways to go on that, screen there. So, congratulations to them and everybody else we mentioned tonight, and, Tyler Cole. That was a great show, talking frog fishing. God, I love me some frog fishing, but, uh, we'll likely be back next week. I'm not sure what we're gonna cover. May try to get some coverage on this, native event, or, I'm sure we'll find something else. Uh, with that, good night to you guys. Well, good night to me, but, we'll see you next time on The Real Dan.